Okay, we ended part one by, excuse me, by understanding that Satan wants to rearrange everything and anything that God has as an order in our economy here. But here is knowledge as we continue to learn about Satan. Satan is allowed, excuse me, again, Satan is allowed to create destruction. Satan is also allowed to create chaos and influence mankind, especially those who choose to be under his demonic control and choose to be led into spiritual bondage. But the knowledge is he's only in control for a period of time. That's very crucial. And for those who are unaware and for those who are not truly converted, meaning those who are in church on Sunday but really not of the church on Monday through Saturday or Sunday through Sunday, I want you to understand this one thing. Don't think for a second that Satan and his crew will win. Okay, so I'm just trying to give you a heads up. If you continue want to teeter-totter with God and then teeter-totter with Satan, you lose. Just want to let you know that you're if you still want to be committed to believe and be under his influence, you lose and he loses. The end for him and the end for all those who come under his satanic influence. Every one of those who do will be confined to a place called hell. And you can be on this live Facebook and disagree about hell being a mental capacity if you want to. No, hell is for real, and hell is for eternity according to Revelation 20:10. Revelation the 20th chapter verse 10. And if I'm going to err on any side, I'm going to err with the Bible. So that's where I stand. There is a hell, and I'm going to say it again. There is a hell, and it's meant for those for Satan, and it's meant for those who follow him. Matter of fact, hell wasn't even meant for for mankind, but since mankind wants Satan's system and wants to follow his ways and wants to be influenced by him, many will get what they ask for when this whole thing is over. So that's why it's important, saints, that we have to keep reaching out to the unaware. First, the unaware, those who just have not come into the acknowledgement and just don't know. There are people who just don't know and will be appreciative if when you do tell them. But then you have those who confess or profess that they know about this and still do. You have to question their manifestation of their behavior, because there is no way in common sense that I know what to do right and fail not to do. So I want you to understand that, and I want to also take you as we continue, as we begin to wrap this up, since we're talking about Satan as a foundation to lead us into, we are in a spiritual war. Go with me. Let's go to Job, the 38th chapter. Excuse me. Job, the 38th chapter. Okay. And the reason I'm taking you here, because there is something profound when you read the 38th chapter of Job. Okay. We're going to look at verses 4 through 6 and 7. But here's a little background to Job 38. God shows up to Job in a whirlwind, and because Job is having a pity party right now. He's sick. He doesn't understand why some things has happened to him. And so God shows up to him and basically says, Job, you don't know what you're talking about. So many words. You don't know what you're talking about. So God says, I'm going to ask you some questions, and since you think you know what's going on, and since you think you know about me and how I rule the world, and you have questions about my sovereignty and questions about why you're suffering right now, I'm going to ask you some questions, and you're going to answer me, and you're going to tell me the answer. Okay? And he starts off by asking, where were you when I created the earth? Okay? Profound. Where were you? Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Okay, so that's the background of it. So while we looking at verse 4 and 5 and 6, that's basically where I just previously took you. God is asking Job some basic questions but verse 7 is where it actually begins. Okay, in Job 38, there you'll read that you'll see the morning stars and the sons of God are being referenced. Now, understand this now. The morning stars and the sons of God, in biblical theology, it's called Hebrew parallelism. It's almost like another word for our figure of speech. Okay? But the morning stars and the sons of God are referencing to angels. Okay? Now, when you go to the New Testament, you'll also see sons of God. But you have to understand what is going on here. The sons of God and the morning stars were created first. They are watching God lay out or create the foundation of the earth. So they tell you, so it's basically telling you they were there and they were excited. They were singing. When you go to the New Testament, the sons of God is referring to those who come into the spiritual knowledge that are born, that come after Adam. Okay, this is not dealing with the New Testament. Sons of God is different from the sons of God in the Old Testament. So understand that the morning stars and the sons of God were created first. These are referencing angels. And Job 38 is telling you that they were there. This means including Lucifer, including his, what we call him now, Satan, was there. Okay? He was there. And the Bible says that they sang together. Wow, they sang together. That were the morning stars. And then the sons of God shouted, okay, while God created the earth and laid the foundations of the earth. So sometime after this excitement, Lucifer lost his mind. Somewhere in that timeline between watching God do his thing, watching God create, and they were all excited, including Lucifer. Somewhere in between that timeline, Lucifer became disruptive. Pride set in. Self-exaltation, meaning lifting oneself up. And this can be seen in certain people today. This same thing that caused Lucifer or Satan to get casted out of heaven, you still see it manifesting in people today. There are people who thrive on exalting themselves. Okay? You remember Isaiah the 14th chapter, verses 12 through 14. Remember, Isaiah writes that Lucifer wanted God's authority over the universe. That's in Isaiah 14, 12 through 14. People, jealousy is a monster. Pride is a monster. When people like to exalt themselves, it is a monster. Matter of fact, being a Christian psychologist and studied it, it's a borderline mental health problem where people constantly got to have attention. They don't like to see no one with anything. And there are many people who wish you well. There are many genuine people out here who have no problem congratulating you to see you or see someone succeed or manifest to a spiritual level. There's people out here that are beautiful. You just love to be around them because there's that heart is not in them to be jealous of somebody or be always exalting themselves. Then you have the other group to the extreme. They can be so wicked they would curse your rise. That's how wicked this thing can be. They can go as far as praying for your failure. Okay, it can go as far as witchcraft. Okay, setting traps to have what you have. There's people who will go in debt just to be noticed, just to be seen. Okay, even in my calling, there are ministers all across this world, okay, jealous of other ministers and ministries. Okay? So you have to understand this thing, his grips of his nature runs deep into humanity. There would be occasions and I hope so, I have some young adults listening. There would be occasions that people walking with you or working alongside of you, they will plot for your position or sabotage your rise. These are critical things, people. And if you ever want to find out who's in your corner, get elevated. Reach a new position or get a new car, or you can go as far as being dumb as get a new hairdo, or get a new puppy. This thing can get as ignorant as that. If you ever want to find out who's in your corner, just get something new or get elevated. You will find out immediately who's genuine and who has that spirit like Satan. Okay? Okay, so let's follow me into the next lesson and we'll conclude with that. Okay, thank you.